Hey, what's up everyone? It's Sigrist, and today, just here to talk to you more about all of that coronavirus stuff going on right now, and specifically something I've been thinking about a lot, which is the Spanish flu. Thought it might be kind of fun to do something that feels a little more mysterious. Because we're talking about this flu right now that everyone knows so much about. We've got it all figured out, right? We got quarantine going on, we got self-isolation, we were washing our hands, got masks. I mean, what else do we need to know? Well, this is interesting. I was doing a little bit of research on the Spanish flu, and I found a lot of little tidbits of knowledge that could be proof that we are not out of the woods yet, or even close. Now, granted, there are some key differences here. First of all, yeah, our doctors are better, and we got better hospitals, so we should be in the clear, right? Also, we're not in the middle of a world war. That's good news as well. So people aren't next to each other, possibly spreading the disease much more easily. So we're safe now, right? We're okay. We're better off than we were before. But I see a lot of the patterns happening back then that I see now. First of all, the pattern is that we got the first wave in spring. Well, technically it started in winter, but I mean, generally speaking, we got the worst of it in the springtime. But the problem is the Spanish flu also had its origination in the springtime, and it wasn't that bad. Yes, lots of people were dying, but it wasn't something that was out of control. So, sounds like we're good because that virus started going away in the summertime, so our virus also should be gone in the summertime, especially with all the efforts that we're doing right now. The problem is that the Spanish flu came back with a vengeance in the fall, killing most of the 20 to 50 million people who would eventually die from this flu. And what's interesting about this is that it not only came back, it came back in a mutated form and was killing more people and getting spread at a much faster rate. Now, part of it was being spread at a faster rate because we were in the middle of a war and it was passed between soldiers who were put together in tight quarters as they were fighting the enemy. But it's a good thing, like nowadays, we don't have people living in close quarters anymore, like in big cities like New York and Seoul and Tokyo and Paris and all the other big cities in the world. In August of 2018, soldiers coming from England landed in ports in the United States, in France, and West Africa, and that is when the real problems began. See, they were carrying a far deadlier strain of this virus, and when it spread and killed some people within 24 hours of the first symptoms. And what are you gonna do when you're in a war and you've got to make sure that you are continuing to, win the war? Well, I'll tell you what England did, and they decided that it was important to make sure that they keep the war engines running. That means continuing to have munitions plants keep putting out weapons so their soldiers could fight on the front lines, which caused a lot more widespread death in England. Americans decided that nurses ready for war shouldn't be used in America because they didn't want to risk them dying from the disease when we needed them on the front lines of the war. And there are lots of other examples of that where we thought, you know what, we've got to make sure we focus on this war and not people dying. Because war. Luckily, after 3 months, that second wave died off, mainly because the people infected died off. There was a third wave, though, at the beginning of 2019, but that virus couldn't get as far because basically the war was finished and it just didn't have the necessary environment to spread as quickly. But it's a good thing this has nothing to do with our current pandemic, right? Except for I hear so many of the parallels that we're going through now with then, and it's just, let's start with the basics. The first thing I noticed, especially here in Korea, is a sense of complacency because we are fine. We're getting better. As of the last few days, we have less than 50 new infections per day, and it's looking really good. But you know what's not looking good? Lots of people still doing lots of stuff. And some of those things include going to the club. I saw a picture floating around this weekend of tons of people lined up for a club. And if you've ever been inside of a Korean club, it is sweaty, gross, you touch everybody because that's how you move. But it's also gonna happen to the entire world. People are gonna get over it, we're gonna feel accomplished, and we're gonna say, hey, we did it. We got over the flu, it's not gonna come back, we'll be fine. Let's go back to the bars, let's go, hang out at baseball games and just have some fun like we used to. And that's great, and that's dandy. Here's the problem, the virus isn't gonna be gone unless there's a vaccine. People are still going to be traveling from one country to another, and that includes countries that haven't completely eliminated the COVID-19 or its mutated virus. I mean, think about it. Are we really gonna get the vaccine out to even half of the world's 7 point whatever billion people in the world? 3.5 billion vaccines to help stop the spread? Probably not. I hope I'm wrong about the prediction, but I fear like there might be a resurgence in the fall, especially if we take our foot off the gas and we start going back to our normal lives. Another parallel I heard was about how we had to make sure that we won the war, because that is important when you're fighting a virus, I guess. You hear a lot of people talking about it nowadays, like the US president that said the cure must not be worse than the virus itself, meaning that if we shut down the economy, that's like the worst thing ever. So we need to keep the economy moving, even if more people get sick and die. Yeah, it is starting to sound a little bit like the Spanish flu, but don't worry, we got doctors and stuff, so we're good. Yeah, we do, but do we have enough? The first wave has already exhausted a lot of our medical staff, and many doctors and nurses around the world have paid their ultimate sacrifice. They've lost their lives. And if a second wave comes that is a deadlier form, we're gonna be running low on medical experts. Look, I'm not doing this just to scare everybody. I'm not trying to make everyone go back into hiding, although kind of. I wanna make sure that we're just clear that this is not gonna be over once those numbers start going down. Because here's what's gonna happen. First of all, as you may have already noticed, the stock market is gonna start going back up again just a little bit, because hey, look at that. We're almost out of this thing. The numbers are going down in certain countries in Europe and in Asia, so we are gonna get through this. If you've never heard of a dead cat bounce, I'll tell you briefly what it is. When something is very high and you throw it to the ground, even a dead cat will bounce just a little bit before it continues to crash. So look up dead cat bounce in stock market and you'll know what I'm talking about. Second, you're gonna see everyone going back to normal in the summertime, maybe hanging out with lots of people in crowded areas. That, I'm afraid, is a prediction that's probably gonna come true. What I'm really worried about is, yes, the virus does start to go away during the summertime, it goes into hiding, and it comes back, hits us hard in September. We're not in for a battle until we beat it with the quarantine. We're not in for a battle until someone invents the vaccine. We're in a battle until that vaccine gets widely distributed to most of the population. And it's gonna take a lot of time. So if you don't mind, don't go to Easter Mass, for heaven's sake. Quit going to the clubs. You're ruining it for the rest of us. Like, seriously, stop going to clubs. The more you go to clubs right now, the less likely we're gonna be able to go to a less crowded place like a baseball game over the summer or the fall. And do continue to wash your hands, wear masks in public, for as long as it seems necessary. Because honestly, why were so many people not washing their hands after using the bathroom for so long? Come on. And second of all, it's probably gonna come back. And I hope I'm wrong. Everyone take care of yourselves. I know that it's gonna be difficult and people have already lost loved ones and they probably lost a lot of money. Unfortunately, there's gonna be more of that to come, especially if we don't take care of ourselves and the people around us in the future. So, with that being said, I hope everyone out there stays safe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, Haseyo.